Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about men and body image and what they don't understand about it. So I talk about body image quite a bit, which is kind of funny because as a dude, people think that you don't care about how you look. I mean, ask most wives. The men aren't dressing correctly. But first, I'm just going to tell you a quick story. Men do have body image issues. My wife and I were walking through an amusement park a couple years back, and there's this, I'm assuming they were a couple. They were walking in front of us, and the girl is walking behind just going chub, 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 chub. And she's pinching him all up his sides, the love handles, and I'm sure that he loved it. Now, I share this story because the response typically, whenever I share this with a big group of people, is and I flip it and I say, if it was a girl that was getting pinched by a guy and the guy's going chub, 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 what do you think would have happened? And the response is usually right to the face. So why is it that men don't have body image issues but women do? Now I'm going to set that aside, but I want you to understand that everybody can have body image issues, whether it's a man or a woman. But what men don't get is that men go through changes typically whenever they hit puberty and when they're out of puberty. And maybe when they get married, and maybe whenever their wife gets pregnant, because they get sympathy weight. Meanwhile, women go through it with puberty, typically whenever they start their contraceptive, potentially. Maybe whenever they get pregnant, usually when they get pregnant. Whenever they have the baby, once they have their next baby, once they have their next baby, depending on how many babies we're having here. Oh, and then this thing called menopause. And the whole time, they're told that they have to get back to pre-baby weight. So from clothing stores, from gyms, from family, from friends, from society, from magazines, women are told that they're supposed to be looking a certain way. Meanwhile, their body is changing. And they see that one woman got a six-pack after her second baby, and it doesn't even look like she had any babies. And they feel like that's how they're supposed to look. And it doesn't always work out that way. But here's what's interesting to me. I need you to take a step back and think about this. No matter how you think we got here, whether it was the Big Bang or some other source, the reality is that women can create a human, carry a human, birth a human, and feed a human with their body for as long as that human needs. So, no matter how you think we got here, we would not continue without women and their bodies. So what else do you want from their body? What would make it perfect? What would make it better? And for women that can't have children, that doesn't mean that their body is any less magical. I mean, like, look at your hand. Your brain is controlling your hand and doing all of these things. You can see, you can think, you can compute what it is that you are hearing in this video. So the body is pretty amazing, but there's a war on women's bodies, and we kind of need to take a step back. And if you're a man, whether you have a sister, you have a spouse, you have a mother, you need to think back about how we are teaching them to treat their bodies. So with men, it's not that big of a deal. The pressures aren't necessarily there. They're coming. They're definitely coming. Men are starting to get more pressure put on them on how they're supposed to look, but it's not the same with women. There's a whole bunch of pressures that are on them from themselves, from other women, potentially from men, from family, from society, that they're supposed to look a certain way. Meanwhile, men are like, get muscles, be big, that's what you do. But with women, it's going to be more complex, more intertwined with how they view themselves. And they're told to love themselves all the time. But they have to figure out how to love themselves each time their body changes. Maybe baby one didn't make a difference. Maybe the contraceptive didn't make a difference. Maybe when they got married, that made a difference. In the future, with your wives, with your sisters, with your friends, with your daughters, if they start talking bad about themselves and their bodies, recognize that conversation and shut it down. Friends don't let friends fat talk. And realize that life changes for everybody. But our body keeps going and keeps working and keeps providing for us, sometimes in spite of what we do to it. So don't hate. So don't hate. Don't hate. Appreciate. Appreciate. Just appreciate. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell if you like this content so that you can be notified whenever new information is going to be coming out. Thanks for joining me. All right. Eat on, enjoy your life, and enjoy your health, and just be supportive and kind.